Amanda and her friends want to see if randonauting is really a thing, and so they do something clever that I haven't seen in any other Randonautica videos. They write down what they want to see and never say it out loud just in case the app is listening in. They concentrate on finding a rainbow because they think that this object would be the last thing to be able to creep them out. They were wrong. Randonautica helps them find this unforgettable experience that has them screaming in their car. It's a multicolored rainbow fence, followed by a real one not too long after. That can't just be a coincidence, right? Nicholas White is in an elevator on his work break when it suddenly stops after the power goes out for a split second and comes back on. It's an unremarkable beginning to a long survival situation that stretches on for almost 2 days, with everything caught on camera. He does what anyone would do and repeatedly tries all of the buttons, including the alarm, and then he tries to open the door a couple times, all to no avail. No one in the security room is listening. After an hour, he stands on the rails and looks for a ceiling hatch, but the exit is locked. After more than 10 hours, you can see a worker perform some kind of maintenance on all of the other elevators, apparently skipping right past Nicholas without noticing he's even there. By 19 hours, Nicholas seems to have resigned to his fate. He tries to keep from going crazy by reading the fine print to what he says later on was a sports game ticket. After 40 hours, he has degraded into a vegetative state and mostly lies on the floor or leans against the wall. 1 hour after that, he is finally able to talk to somebody over the intercom, and they give him a special code to press that gets the elevator working again. His friends and a security guard are waiting for him on the other side. Understandably, after spending almost the full weekend in this cube, all he wanted was a cold drink and probably a new job in a different building. This CCTV footage comes from the London Dungeon, a famous tourist attraction in England that's rumored to be haunted. An employee is tending to their duties in the laundry room all alone. When they go to open the door to the washing machine, a hand reaches out and makes a grab at them. Weirder still is how the camera switches to static merely moments before this happens. Since technological malfunctions can often indicate the presence of the paranormal, and also given the location, I think this strange video could definitely be real, and if so, it's something that this employee will never be able to unsee. A YouTuber named Suspect Sky and his wife are convinced that something is waiting for them. Inside of their small closet, Suspect Sky slowly walks up to the closet and flings the door open. Prepared for conflict, only to find nothing inside. They are relieved for just a moment, and then decide to get out of the house anyway. Something is still in there waiting for them. They think they can feel its presence, and just want to leave as fast as they can. And when they looked at the video again later, they found out they were absolutely correct. Two friends are creeping around a forest in Granada, Spain when they stumble upon something they were never meant to see. The humanoid is likely hunched over its prey as the two approach. They accidentally make a noise and the humanoid's keen ears detect them instantly. It looks up from his meal, ready to attack. You can see that this creature is thin and bony. It looks skinny and sunken in, fast with a high metabolism. Its reaction time seems way too quick for any ordinary person. A YouTube channel called Adventure with Hodge goes on an urban exploration of an abandoned factory, and it turns out to be one of the scariest places he has ever explored. Something feels wrong with the creepy location from the very start, and they begin to wonder if this place is really abandoned after all.
Eerie, not gonna lie.
The basement feels downright spooky with only one flashlight between them. The urban explorers are too scared to venture far, especially when they discover a creepy message spelling out their fate.
You're in his home. Wonderful. I don't like that at all.
We just decided to go back in the basement. We just heard something.
That was loud.
On the basement floor is another haunting discovery in the form of an abandoned jacket. Why would someone leave their jacket down here? Hodge wonders. I personally couldn't help but notice it's kid-sized, and this is certainly no place for a child. Someone scary must have taken them to this horrible location. someone twisted and deranged. The two friends are beyond creeped out, but at the same time curious enough to go exploring past the creepy warning on the wall. Bad decision.
It's time to go. Time to go.
Okay, we're gone. I'm sorry.
Somewhere in the darkness, a heavy object falls over, and the loud, scary noise they capture on tape makes them cry out in surprise and run away while apologizing. This part deserves a closer analysis because it's scary stuff indeed. They are exploring the middle of the basement, nothing within arm's reach, when an unseen object either crashes or is thrown to the ground. Hodge is holding the camera and you can see his friend's elbow right before the scary noise is caught on video, so he's standing too close. Whatever caused this unexplained event can't be them. Plus, listen to how he later describes this creepy encounter caught on tape.
Majority of the video, we were exploring the basement of this abandoned factory. We kept hearing noises, felt like something was following us, and lo and behold, something followed us and we were chased out the basement.
I see no signs that he's lying, no deceit in his eyes, only enthusiasm at the thought of having a scary and maybe even paranormal encounter caught on tape, so I believe this creepy video is as real as he says. It's said that on this battlefield, the ghosts of soldiers still roam. Published by Dark 3 in July of 2019, a man is exploring a region where hostilities took many lives. The tree-heavy area features a couple of towers and a brick wall dividing them. Despite the rather average-looking landscape, the cameraman says strange things are often observed here. After zooming in on the tower, the camera scans the tower from the top to the ground, which is covered by brush and trees. It is behind one of these trees that he captures a glimpse of a strange creature. It's hard to tell what this is. It looks hauntingly like an unearthly figure crouched down, almost out of view. Its coloring does not blend with its surroundings, making me think there's a good chance this could be CGI, and that appears this is the case. So I guess that explains what this thing is doing here, because it certainly doesn't look of this world. Redditor Everyone is Human shared the following video to Reddit with a short read-up that says, "My sister-in-law's Ring camera captured this tonight. I have never been a believer, but I am struggling to dismiss this. Please weigh in on it." So let's have a look and see if we can help the uploader in figuring out what was filmed on the camera that night. So I need you to focus your attention. So if we're looking at the center beam here, about dead center on the center beam, and then to the left, about halfway in between this center beam and this beam here. And you just see that thing just move. All right, now it's between these two beams, just huffing it down the sidewalk. Still on camera here, but it looks like whatever this is, it almost looks like the ghost of somebody out for an evening jog, as it starts on the left side of the sidewalk here and just continues down the sidewalk for the entire video. Whatever it is almost appears kind of translucent as well. You'd think if it was just a person, like an actual person out for a jog, it would be a lot more visible on camera. It would just look like just a regular person on camera. This almost looks not only translucent, but it's kind of floating in the air. I can definitely see why this uploader, who is usually a skeptic when it comes to this sort of thing, is having a hard time coming up with a logical explanation of what exactly happened on the security footage. It certainly looks to be some sort of ghostly figure out for an evening stroll, but one can only hope that's not the case. Some viewers suggest that it could actually just be the camera that's making an ordinary person look like a ghost. Is this actually a ghost walking around in clear view, or is this just a camera trick on a regular person? I'll let you decide. Heavenly Harmony Sound Haunting. This one may actually be published to YouTube in June of 2020. This clip comes from a video that'll give you nightmares, according to the Portuguese title. The clip is gaining traction in the Spanish and Portuguese speaking YouTube communities, and after watching, you'll know exactly why it's become so popular. The footage shows a children's choir practicing, led by their enthusiastic conductor. They're likely preparing to perform for their parents in a Christmas program, judging by their Santa hats. At first, all seems normal, nothing out of place, that is until the shot zooms in on this child, who appears to be experiencing something out of the norm. The girl with long black hair leans her head back as if her actions are out of her control, and her face, blurred to begin with, even disappears at some point, like it's erased from the video altogether. The young girl dips her head back several times in this manner, which is plenty of cause for concern, but it's her seeming to vanish from the footage only to re-emerge that's especially creepy. Is this girl possessed? Can the vanishing act be somehow explained? What is happening here? One thing's for sure, it's freaky. You're never alone on an amusement park ride. This phantom will make sure of it. Published to YouTube by Eli Zix in September 2015, the following footage will have you looking twice. The clip shows 3 women and a man riding the pirate ship at an amusement park, swinging back and forth. At the beginning of the clip, there are clearly 3 women there, but as the video ends, the 3rd woman on the end has completely vanished. Where did she go? Did she fall off the ride? Disappear somehow? Or was she ever really there at all? Some in the comments claim that this girl passed away on this ride 2 years prior to when this video was filmed. This is all hearsay, but who knows? The truth has to be out there somewhere. Police in Michigan need to find a woman who has fallen from a dock through the ice before it's too late. The officer comes across 2 fishermen holding on to a poor woman who fears for her life. If they let go, she's going under. There's little time left. She's freezing. Hypothermia is the name for a dangerous drop in body temperature. From prolonged exposure to cold, you can lose your life from it in as little as 5 minutes.
You got a hold of her?
Signs of hypothermia include red skin, fatigue,
Losing her strength.
and numbness.
Take a hand. Take the other one.
Completely numb.
So it's not looking good for her. Her core body temperature is lowering. Her organs are slowly turning off to preserve heat and protect the brain. They have one last chance to save her.
It's too hard. Come on. All right, stay right here. Stay right here.
I'm stuck.
Grab hold. 1, 2, 3. Up.
The police take over and get the job done in moments. One of the fishermen, an older gentleman, is absolutely exhausted and unable to stand by the time it's through. He and his friend are absolute heroes for not letting go until the police arrived, which actually took 15 minutes but to them felt like 5. The woman later said she was starting to lose consciousness, a sure sign that she couldn't have withstanded much longer in that cold water. Hopefully we can all learn from the scariest moments of her life and always be careful when fishing on the dock. Had other people not been around to help, she would have been lost beneath the ice. Dan Sedrin is a paranormal investigator who calls this next video one of the scariest places he's ever explored. Just thinking back on the place makes his eyes go wide with fear.
We decided to hit Blue Ghost Tunnel. It's one of the most haunted places in all of Southern Ontario, and it definitely lived up to the hype.
He and his 2 friends, Nicole and Jenna, appear calm and relaxed when he first starts exploring the Blue Ghost Tunnel in Ontario, Canada.
It was tough to get here. Had to go through the woods, but we're gonna keep exploring.
But halfway through exploring the tunnel, he claims to see some kind of paranormal activity.
No, look at the blue mist.
Nicole and Jenna are reluctant to go any further as some kind of mist wraps around Dan and moves ahead of him.
It's getting really foggy over here. Yeah. I just want to touch the beam.
And now I'm done.
Okay, hold up.
He bravely takes a few steps forward and, knowing his friends are already scared, challenges them to turn off their flashlights for 10 seconds.
Turn off your lights. Just turn off your lights. 10 seconds. 10 seconds. Okay.
Scary voices seem to be whispering a message at them from the darkness, and they get out of the tunnel fast. It's scary enough to make one of them nearly lose their mind.
What did you guys hear? Cause
it was like a person, like an old person, like a growl, like not a growl, but like look at my hand.
Oh, you're shaking.
Yeah.
You're really shaking.
Let's go.
Okay, all right, let's go.
That kind of fear is impossible to fake, so while this may or may not be a real ghost, we can at least agree that they were genuinely afraid. This deer looks like it could be fine, except it's walking in circles with its tongue hanging out without a clue of its surroundings. A telltale sign of CWD. The person recording thinks this could be the work of hunters, but I disagree. Watch this part and tell me what you really think happened.
Oh yeah, I got shot.
The deer circles in place for well over a minute and then silently walks out to a nearby field. The way it is walking here makes me think that this is the result of something to do with the brain. The animal is so out of it that it looks ready to walk through the front door of a nearby home. Perhaps this exact scenario is precisely how it will one day spread to humans. I really hope this incident was reported to the proper wildlife agency for further investigation. YouTube channel The Haunted Side Paranormal Investigations asks, would you keep going? But before you answer that, here's some context. In this short video, they were exploring Sutro Tunnel Ghost Town in Dayton, Nevada. Watch and answer for yourself.
Watch the door here, coming on.
Whoa!
And this was only upon entering. If you crossed the threshold and this happened,
Coming on.
Whoa!
would you take a step further? Me neither. Wanda Chance is riding down the road when she sees a stranger who looks out of place. He is wearing a floor-length black cloak and holds his hands in front of him, possibly making a symbol. Wanda is suspicious of him and they drive by again. I think he looks like he might just be a regular teenager, sporting a gothic clothing style and look, but Wanda notices a long and pointy ear at 1 minute and 14 seconds and questions if he is really a person at all. What do you think about this sighting? Sure, it's strange, but is this just a person with an uncommon fashion style for the area, or a visitor from somewhere far off trying their best to fit in? Shimeo, New Mexico is where you'll find the famous Ghost Garage, a paranormal hotspot along the highway where a ghost or two just might climb into your car. This person thinks they have a real paranormal video of a spirit caught on tape in this video. I kind of see what he's talking about, but you really must pay attention, or you'll miss both of these two ghost sightings. Do you see their faces? I think I might. Then again, I would like to see the original video without the filter. Only then will we know what these bizarre figures truly are. A YouTuber named Wokuncha is on a mission to explore the most haunted places in Pakistan faster than anyone in the history of ghost hunting. Since August of 2019, he has investigated no less than 60 paranormal locations, but for time's sake, let's focus on these top 3 scariest ones. In September of 2019, he travels to a house possessed by demonic desert spirits called jinns. He takes a single step in the first room and already feels a cold presence warning him to stay away. Then the door across the room closes so slowly you have to watch the shine of his camera light to see it. When he fearlessly takes a few steps forward, a ghostly white arm reaches for the knob to shut it the rest of the way, at which point his flashlight turns itself off. The same door clatter loses again behind him. Someone's on the other side, but whether it's a ghost or a member of his crew is what I want to know. Also, what is he saying here to provoke such an angry response?
यहाँ कोई मौजूद है? क्या अपने होने का सबूत दे सकते हैं? अल्लाहु अकबर।
Nobody is on the other side of the door, at least no one that I can see, though I suppose someone could be ducking under the camera here to make it look that way. But that's when he sees it, the thing responsible for closing the door, a white apparition who glides away without a word. It's creepy for sure, but also questionable, because he sees the ghost and then enters the room looking the exact opposite way for some reason, which makes me think that they could have digitally added the ghost later. Next, he hears something so eerie and insane that it almost has to be edited. Let me know if you think it's legit, because if so, then this is pretty much proof of the supernatural. Voices, perhaps children, whose lives the jinn has snuffed. The ghost hunter understandably seems reluctant to go any further, and perhaps senses a great danger is near. As it turns out, he's right. No one seems to be inside of this room, but as he timidly rounds the corner, I think I see this gray figure in a cloak standing on the other side. The jinn itself, it's blurry, yes, but something nonetheless seems to be looking straight at him. The top arrow is its face, and the bottom its outstretched hand, palm up. He flees then and there, but on February 2nd of 2020, returns to the home for another look. I think they might be saying that something is on the roof here, but I need your help to translate and make sure.
ये देखें आपके सामने
Apparently, whatever it is, it's now in the room with them, so they step outside. They take a short breather, but as soon as they're back inside, the trouble starts once again.
ये गिरा हुआ ये अचानक ही गिरा है नीचे
I'm pretty sure he's asking for confirmation of a ghost during this part, and soon he gets a response.
देखिए आप जो भी हैं मैं आपको नुकसान पहुंचाने यहाँ नहीं आया
At which point this chain on a nail begins to sway back and forth for well over 10 seconds completely on its own. Doors slam shut, but Wokan-cha is determined to go further than before, and eventually he comes across a bizarre straw hut that fills him with unexplainable dread. The earth looks recently disturbed. Anything could be buried beneath the rubble. He's contemplating the structure when the spirits become restless.
Astaghfirullah.
Or maybe it's just a string tied to a tree. Either way, he seeks shelter in an area that's just as haunted as everywhere else, and soon he hears voices coming through the walls. At this point, you would think nothing could stop this fearless explorer. Doors slamming, groaning moans, and objects moving on their own aren't enough to make him leave, but the part that scares him the most is literally nothing at all. A presence that we can't see and only he can feel. Is this part real or just good acting?
अजीब सी कंडीशन है अल्लाहु अकबर अस्तगफिरुल्लाह मुझे धक्का दिया किसी ने
He turns around and looks at the corner as if something had just brushed by. Whatever touched him leaves him too scared to re-enter. I've saved the creepiest one of all for last, a paranormal adventure that takes place on October 23rd, 2019. That's when Wokan-cha travels to a site full of unmarked burials. Many of them are child-sized. It's a calm night and crickets chirp as he says a few words that I would like translated because they sound very somber and sorrowful.
अल्लाह ताला की मेहरबानी से मैं बिखरी ऐसे हूँ
The stillness of the night is soon replaced by a rushing whisper that sounds lonely and paranormal, a rising cry of anguish possibly originating from the other side of life. As he reaches an old memorial, he hears another voice call out, a near laugh. And approximately 2 minutes later, the same voice laughing. His nervous fear is overpowered by a morbid curiosity to stay and see who the voice belongs to. I was halfway expecting a hand to bust forth from the earth, but what happens next is just as frightening.
Allahu Akbar. Astaghfirullah. Astaghfirullah. मेरे दोस्तों वो गुस्सा है मेरे दोस्तों वो
He checks around the side of the building and sees nothing. He's all alone again, just himself in the graves. I wish Wokan Shah all the best, but at the same time really hopes he slows down to a safer rate of exploring. If he keeps this up, it's only a matter of time before something really bad happens to him. And at this rate, he might not even make it to his 100th video. A paranormal crew communicated with numerous unearthly entities in this haunted place. Published by Paranormal Voyages in January of 2022, the crew first records a disembodied voice that they don't seem to hear in the moment.
Yeah.
A moment later, while they're communicating through the spirit box, something appears over one of their shoulders. They then hear what sounds like a scream.
It's like a scream. Yes, it's a scream.
Oh, that was disembodied. That sounded like it was disembodied to me.
It was a scream.
The spirits tell one of the crew to move forward.
Something's telling me for you to move forward a little more.
What? What the heck was that? You hear that?
Whoa.
I want to move forward.
Later, while using a Connect, an anomaly is detected. After being bombarded with questions, the spirits have a question for the crew.
But why? Oh! No. Oh my, did you hear that whisper? But why? But why? I asked for a baby. Yeah. And we said no, and it goes, but why?
While they continue to communicate, one of the crew feels a sharp pain in his heart.
What? Jeez. Heart just hurt. You alright? Yeah, I think. That was like a sharp pain.
Back with the Connect, another anomaly makes its presence known. What do all these spirits want with the living? Maybe if we listen closely, we'll hear it. Published to YouTube by Scary Videos in November of 2015, this creepy CCTV footage shows a terrifying incident with a shadow ghost. According to the video, this incident occurred in an IT park in November of 2015. Around 6 p.m., a man is walking down the hallway. His shadow is cast on the wall at the end of the hall. As he turns the corner, another shadow suddenly springs from the adjacent hallway, running him into a corner. The man is thrown up against the wall by this evil shadow. He falls to the ground and the shadow drags him by the ankle across the corner. Somehow he manages to pull himself loose and flee, while the shadow figure stands for a moment and then disappears. It's just good he got away. I bet you'll never look at your shadow the same way again. These flats are supposed to be abandoned, so who is in this window? Posted to TikTok by Scared to Death Zero, this crew is looking around an abandoned encampment at night when they see movement in one of the upper windows. Zooming in, there's no one there, but then they move their flashlight from the window, and the figure again peeks out from behind a curtain. Many in the comments are completely freaked out, while some think it's a squatter, others are not so sure. They say it has no face. What is this thing? Would you try to find out? A girl named Jessie and her friend decide to try and summon spirits at a playground at 3 in the morning. The video starts off very lighthearted as Jessie plays on the monkey bars and her friend makes jokes, but soon things get much more serious. They've just barely started when they hear a strange noise and whip around.
Did you hear that?
Yeah.
They shine their flashlights on the playground tubes, but don't see anything. The two friends sit back down and start again. It isn't long before they've made contact.
Is there anyone here that would like to contact us? Are you doing that?
No, are you?
No.
The spirit identifies itself only as D and refuses to say its real name at first, but then says that it is the infamous demon, Mama. Then it says that there are 3 of them, all watching. Now strange noises are happening all around them.
So your name's not Mama?
Oh my god!
Didn't you hear that? No. Mama.
Oh my god!
Apparently, their idea of summoning harmless children at a playground is turning out to be more serious than they thought. Mama starts to recite the alphabet backwards and then starts to count down the numbers, which Jesse's friend says is a way for the demon to get out of the board. Before they get a chance to move the pointer over goodbye, Sammy drops to the ground. This is what the camera records.
Oh, holy shut the up. Jesse just got possessed.
Are you kidding?
You were laughing like really weird and
Are you serious?
yeah.
Like, I don't even remember, like, playing the Ouija board.
She wakes up with no recollection of what happened. Hopefully, if this video is real, the demon left her alone after that, though we'll never know for sure. It could still be inside of her, waiting for the right moment to reveal itself again. This laboratory is said to be frequented by a spirit who is always near. Here you can see a door pull open by itself with no one standing on the other side. Just in case you were thinking someone could have opened it off camera, here's the same event from another angle, this time taken from the other side. No one is nearby, otherwise they would have cast a shadow on the wall, or else be visible in the reflection of the clean lab floor. Unless this door is controlled by a button we can't see, then there should be no way for it to open by itself. So what do you think? Is this real or just a staged video cooked up by a bored scientist at work? In a frightening Twitter thread, Gregory88 shares a frankly freaky series of posts about an experience in the woods, including a video that has Twitter more than a bit concerned. Greg's thread begins on November 30th, 2018, where he claims to have seen something in the woods. He tweets, even though it might not be super safe to be out alone in the woods, it still feels better than being home all the time. He continues writing that he was walking in some woods that would be pretty if they didn't feel so creepy. Just when he was starting to feel at ease, he came across something strange in a clearing, but he only made it about 30 feet before he ran into something much creepier. He posts a picture of what he found. It appears to be an animal skull of some kind, mounted on a rock within a blackened triangle. Other smaller rocks are placed around the triangle, and on the skull in some sort of ritualistic looking design. Greg writes that he discovered something new in the wilderness every day, but he isn't nearer to comprehending what's going on. He said he felt dizzy as he headed away from the rock towards his home, but again he didn't make it far before he ran into yet another fright, a hooded woman dressed in black hovering at a distance on a hillside looking at nothing. Greg says she didn't see him as he hid behind a tree. Apparently he'd seen her before in these woods, but it had been weeks since his last sighting. After she left the hillside and drifted off into the forest, Greg darted home, fearing the whole while that she'd pop out and confront him. He asks the Twitter sphere if she's a witch. If not, what are these strange ritualistic displays? He also claims the video is proof that his imagination hadn't run wild. At this point, I just want answers, and I feel like I'm getting close to getting them, Greg writes. I'm just scared of what they might be. We're all pretty scared, Greg. We all are. It's after hours at a hardware store when this red balloon floats into view for no reason at all. The store owner doesn't notice anything out of the ordinary. As he makes his way to a shelf to price some items, the balloon stays in place for approximately 15 seconds, which is already weird enough, but then once his back is turned, it steadily moves in his direction and even slowly floats to eye level, where it stays behind him for a long time. When he still doesn't notice, it actually floats around to cut him off. According to the owner, the air conditioning was turned off and there was no draft in the building, so there really should be no way for this balloon to be moved at all. Besides, he doesn't even sell them to begin with, and has no idea how one floated into a closed store. A gigantic streak of lightning in Paducah, Kentucky was so large that it was caught by 2 different police dash cams. The first police car was far away, and its dashcam footage shows just how long this massive lightning bolt was, and the second police car was much closer.
If you could go back through it. Well, 2 reasons. One, it would be.
The lightning bolt directly hit a nearby residence. Fortunately, everyone inside was alright, but this particular officer will never forget how close he came to being charred alive. Look what happens when this ghost investigator decides to confront the spirit of a person who supposedly took another man's life in this room.
Did you shoot that man? Did you shoot him because you were scared?
A pale figure peeks out from the doorway. As soon as its presence is called upon, no one seems to notice, probably because it was so low. Is this the spirit they are looking for, or just some light hitting the hall at a weird angle? Is this a witch mimicking a baby's cry? Shared by Instagram accounts Paranoid Normal and Unanswered Universe. Listen closely.
¡Ahí hay una cosa! ¡Miren allá! ¡No, Diosito Padre Celestial! ¿Lo que es eso? No, esperen, que está allá.
¿Qué pasó?
¡Ey, no! Vamos a alumbrar qué es, no,
You can hear a baby wailing, and it seems to be coming from this nearby bush. The bush shakes as the group watches tentatively, and then this happens. What is that thing? It doesn't look like any animal I've ever seen. As the group flees the scene, you can hear another bush shaking, and you can hear the babies wail again. Is this a witch or a shapeshifter, luring them in to take their souls? I do think it's some paranormal creature, mimicking a baby's cries, but for what purpose? I'm not so sure. A devious Dora Doll goes exploring this house in a freaky, paranormal way. The moving figurine is caught on camera doing some really weird things that probably weren't advertised on the back of the box. Creepy stuff like this. According to the uploader of this video, there were no batteries in this doll when Dora turns to face the camera like she's been caught. You must pay attention, but as one person pointed out, you can see the doll slowly turning its head for about 13 seconds before it snaps. The little girl is too busy singing to notice what's going on, or maybe she's used to it happening by now. Then again, maybe there is somebody behind the door holding the doll in such a way that we can't see their hand. Final video is about as close as it gets. First, a piece of manufacturing equipment malfunctions and causes a pileup of white-hot steel material. The pressure around the blockage continues to build until coils of unformatted steel shoot across the factory floor. The first worker sees the carnage and runs in a zigzag pattern to escape. The second worker, a supervisor from the looks of his clean white shirt, has his back turned and doesn't notice anything until it's too late to react. A rope of liquid steel stops short at his feet and piles all around him. He escapes only to have the machinery behind him burst apart and send more rivets of steel his way. The equipment is shut off, and more of the substance falls to the exact spot where he was just standing. Take a person with an interest in graveyards is casually filming when they accidentally pick up a bizarre and possibly dangerous watcher. You can see a blurry shadow as it takes a few steps out from the other side of a wall, but the person recording doesn't seem to notice. It wasn't until much later that they reviewed the video and found the hidden lurker in the distance. I personally think that this could be CGI because the resolution of the video seems to have been lowered, which is always a sign of amateur effects. Then again, the person recording may have been using a cheap camera, or maybe this is an older video. I saw a light anomaly, writes Francisco Escamilla, after uploading this bizarre ring cam footage to his YouTube channel. He has no idea what this was and is looking for answers, so let's try and help. I think this could actually be paranormal because their dog just so happens to go crazy at the same time. The block is quiet and the dog doesn't really have much to bark at other than this strange moving object. Some dogs will bark at nothing, so that's not necessarily proof. The way this alleged ghost orb slowly moves makes me wonder if this is actually just a bug that was attracted to the porch light, walking across the lens up close to give this strange and spooky effect. A YouTuber named Adam the Woo is checking out an old abandoned barbecue restaurant in the middle of the California desert and picks up strange occurrences that are possibly supernatural. There are a lot of moments in this video that sound like voices far away, saying words too quietly to understand, like here for example. There's also a lot of electrical disturbances that happen for pretty much no reason. At one point, Adam calls out into what should be an otherwise empty room and gets the faintest of replies.
Hello?
Listen again and tell me if you hear it. A lot of people think that this was a female voice saying hello, but it sounds too far away to tell for sure. Perhaps most unsettling of all, however, is what could be a pair of feet in the stall of this busted out bathroom. Is this the portal to the fiery depths below? The team from Proving Demons thinks so. In this scary video, they're screaming back in the screaming house. As they prepare to communicate with the spirits get there first.
I'm not ready for this, but let's just do it.
Oh, why is it starting? Why is it starting?
Do you know what I'm about to do? Do you actually know what I'm about to do?
The device was triggered and then a tap is heard, and now it's time for a scream with an Aztec whistle. In the distance, they hear something.
What the Sounds like the death whistle.
What's that?
That sounds like the death whistle. Are you recording?
Someone's outside. Someone's outside.
Stop. Are you recording?
Yes.
So it's not just playing.
Are the spirits screaming back? They switch places to see if they're hearing the same thing.
You blow on the top. Purse your lips around the top and blow into it with the megaphone in front of it.
On a recording device, they hear the spirit laughing.
Maniacal laughing.
Is it laughing at their games? To me, the retaliatory screaming following the whistle does sound like someone is screaming back, but this laughter is the most unsettling part of the investigation in my opinion. A mysterious shadow creature sighting was recently caught on dashcam in Falmouth, Maine. That's worth further investigation. The all-black shape darts in front of the vehicle in a split second and then it's gone. Seemingly moving faster than any animal should be able to. I'm at a loss as to what could this bizarre sighting possibly be, but I'm guessing it's either a wildcat, a paranormal mist, or something completely different. I wouldn't be surprised if that stretch of road is haunted, so I'll be on the lookout for more shadow figure videos in this area. After a series of unexpected passings in his family, YouTuber Slightly Scared 2012 experienced this. Do you see a face in the fabric? The YouTuber believes it's his departed cousin's face. The cousin in question passed away, falling from a highway overpass, and within hours, this face appeared on the seat of the chair while the YouTuber was sitting in it. I wish we had a picture of his cousin to compare, but nevertheless, I definitely see a face here, but whether it's pareidolia or not is the big question. On January 8th, 2005, a professional diver named David Shaw was on an extraction mission to recover a missing individual named Dion Dreyer. David, having won numerous diving records in his career, many of them going great depths into caves, was confident in his abilities to locate this person. He was also with a team to help ensure his further safety. They run a line down the cave to help themselves move along and keep from straying too far and getting lost. There's very little light down here. The line leads to Dion. At 3 minutes, they pass over this deflated dolphin that was on Dion's vessel as a joke. Now it's on the bottom of the sea cave floor. He is walking along the bottom and soon becomes hopelessly tangled in the line. He pulls and pulls, hoping to find a good place to cut, but his movements become slower as his oxygen runs out.
Okay, there he goes, he's moving on again. Now, he's breathing very hard.
I won't show the end, but sadly he did not make it out of the cave and passed in the darkness next to Dion. Let's never forget his valiant final dive and take a moment to recognize his bravery. It was his 333rd dive. This place needs signs saying "Do not enter." Published in May of 2022, Hassan Barbar is searching through an abandoned building when he sees this dark figure through a window. It looks like a jinn. The figure quickly moves out of view.
بشوف اشي او بشاهد اشي يا ريت اتمنى من الجميع يا اخوان الكل يبعت لي.
And when Hassan enters the room, he is gone. Hassan locks himself inside the now empty room, but it seems like something is still in the room with him. He spies something written on the wall. Is it a message from the jinn? He turns to look in this cupboard again, and the lights are again messed with, and that's not the only havoc in the room. As he looks around, he turns back to the overhanging lights, and suddenly there's a bucket covering one of them.
العظيم يا اخوان. طب وين قريش؟ وين قريش؟ بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
When he reaches up to touch the light, it's almost like he's electrocuted. Something then obscures his camera. It's the bucket from the light. What is happening here? Hassan is not sure, but I suspect it's the jinn's handiwork. A family in the Philippines is holding a ceremony for their child when something amazing happens. Their baby begins to move. The parents pluck their child and wrap it in blankets. Just yesterday, medical examiners had told them that their child had passed from a severe fever. Now clearly still alive, though the parents are relieved, terror soon set in as they realized how close they came to burying their baby alive. A YouTuber named Maximus and his friends are playing with a Ouija board in the shed. At first, they can't stop goofing around for long enough to take it seriously, but as time goes on, they start to concentrate more on the board and less on making jokes.
Are you there?
Maybe lift your arms up. Why?
Cause it.
What?
Yo.
that was you. Is that not you? No.
They laugh wildly to cover up the mounting tension as they realize a ghost might actually be near. Unlike most of the videos, nothing happens for a long time, and the pointer stays completely still. They go back to making sarcastic jokes until another event gives them pause.
Are you standing next to Frank Tilton?
Are you Frank Tilton?
When was he born? Stop playing. Stop.
Oh my god, no way! That actually like fell!
They are still acting like they don't care very much, but they decide to leave the shed just in case something is watching them. There's something about this video and their excitedly skeptical reactions that seems very genuine to me. This video, published by Choplavaya in April of 2015, will demonstrate why it's not wise to mess with farmers. Choplavaya wrote, "Always be sure to ask for permission before flying over someone's property. Found out the hard way what happens." He went on to say that the drone wasn't police evidence and they were going to court over the incident. This isn't the first time nor the last that drones have become entangled in controversy over privacy issues, property rights, and the right to self-defense. The question remains, do you have the right to take down a drone if it is hovering over your property? One man found out the hard way that laws haven't caught up with technology quite yet when he fired at a drone and took it down in his own backyard. What do you think? Was this man justified in taking down this invasive drone? A YouTuber named Underwater Ireland explores a cemetery on a dreary day. Crows cackle loudly overhead like a warning not to go any further as she treads sacred ground.
They look like type of crosses.
Underwater Island looks down and notices that all of the markers have a wide gap. I have never seen any cemetery with this problem before, have you? If I didn't know better, it almost looks like the buried have been trying to claw their way out. She sets up some cameras and records overnight, and this is what she finds the next day.
Wait for it, wait for it, wait for it. There! Did you see that flash?
And this is the same shot from a different angle. Also, notice how the gate opens here. Okay, so this frowning man wearing a helmet is what the image looks like when the video is stopped. Is this special effects, or did a spirit really come face to face with the camera moments after opening the entrance? A YouTuber named Charles M is checking out an old house for sale in Las Vegas that was supposedly owned by the mafia. At one point during the tour, he comes across a fake wall in the kitchen and follows an old set of stairs down to a secret basement. The basement extends for a long time further and further underground, eventually opening up into a long white room that's completely bare, except for cabinets lining the far wall. Connected to this room are two other smaller rooms about the size of a closet. They each give him a bad feeling. The two smaller rooms are dark and soundproof. Strangest of all, the doors only have knobs on the outside. I don't know why the mob would have needed a soundproof room that nobody could escape from, and I don't want to know. That's all he finds. Hidden inside the ventilation shaft of one of the rooms is what appears to be a single spent bullet casing. Sometimes when you get that feeling that you're being watched, you may discover you are. Posted by Kuno to TikTok. This footage was filmed in Kuno's room, and according to him, no one was home at the time. When creating a video, you're usually pretty oblivious to what's going on around you as you focus in on the task at hand. That's what Kuno appears to be doing as he sings his heart out. But look behind him in the doorway, and your heart might skip a beat as you see what appears to be a mysterious figure. The black outline pops up over his shoulder, backlit by some white light, while Kuno remains completely unaware of its presence. The form lingers for a moment before disappearing out of sight once again. It's difficult to discern who or what this figure is, but if you've ever watched a scary movie in your life, you're probably shouting at Kuno to stop singing and turn around. This footage shows that whether or not you think you are home alone, you may be entirely wrong in that assumption. Steer clear of this swampland. It is home to prehistoric reptiles. Published by MD Starbeast in May of 2022, the YouTuber is wondering what this creature is. Surrounded by lily pads, a snake-like head protrudes from the swampland. It's very still but seems to be rising up out of the water. Is it an eel of some kind? Some obscure reptile? A water dragon? What is your theory? It's 5:36 in the morning, hours before anyone should be inside of the Safety Harbor Public Library in Florida. Everything looks to be in order until this book goes flying off the shelf for absolutely no reason. The opening librarian was surprised to find a book lying perfectly balanced on the floor the next day. So they checked the security camera only to find this strange occurrence. Even if this was set up and someone was standing on the other side of the shelf to push a book to the ground, there's no way they could have made the book balance perfectly on its side like that. It really is as if a poltergeist purposefully made the book land in that position, so as to attract as much fearful suspicion as possible. And apparently it worked. Seeing something other than wild animals and nature in the forest is always creepy, so what if you saw this? James Jones published a creepy figure that he'd caught on video in the forest in June of 2012. He explained that he was currently making a homemade indie horror flick for which he wrote his own script after setting up a prop ritual circle in the middle of the forest based off of research for his film. He ran some rehearsals and then headed home. He returned the next afternoon to film more. That's when he spotted this figure. In his own words, I don't have any explanation on what it is. The reason why this is so weird is because this figure is exactly where I had created the ritual circle last night. When he returned with his camera that evening, the figure had disappeared. From afar, it appears like a hooded demon wearing a black robe. It's unmoving. While many in the comments believe it's just a tree or a stump, others wonder if the uploader was reaping the consequences of setting up a ritual circle in the forest. What do you think it is? A Russian YouTuber named Fikfoss decides to feed a bear a late night fish snack through his window. There's only one problem. Supplies are limited, and the bear seems to want to help itself to everything at once. Multiple times it has to be reminded to mind its manners, and at 24 seconds you can see for yourself that I'm not exaggerating when I say its paw is the size of your head, with long black claws the size of your whole finger. Feeding time becomes less fun when you realize the only way to close this window is by reaching out into the darkness past the hungry bear's mouth to grab this latch. They wait until it walks away satisfied before closing the window. Thankfully, it didn't try to get in this time, but bears have a long memory, and surely it will be back when it's hungry. Perhaps next time for them if no fish is available. There's something in this house, and they might be demons.
Hey! أعوذ بالله أعوذ بالله.
The first one he captures on camera is pretty obvious, but he doesn't seem to see it. The second one is playing peekaboo.
Bismillah. 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 Hey!
And the last one.
أعوذ بالله.
Do you hear that roar? Well, I'm wondering what these creatures are. Most in the comments are chuffed at this dude's terrified scream. My vote is for demons, but it could be some other type of evil entity. Any ideas? A YouTube channel called Paranormal Voyages has one of the best videos of otherworldly evidence I've seen in a long time. This haunting video was taken at the Clown Motel in Tonopah, Nevada, a place where you can spend the night with over 2,000 creepy clown dolls inside. While they are busy addressing any spirits nearby, one of the life-size clown mannequins reaches out for a ghost hunter and possibly makes contact with them. Watch its arm move on its own.
Are you a textual?
She looks back genuinely surprised, only to see the clown doll smiling innocently at her, as if it's never moved by itself. I guess somebody could have been hiding behind the creepy doll to make its arm move, but if not, then this would have to be one of the scariest moments I've ever seen caught on tape. This may surprise you, but there are certain tribes around the Amazon rainforest that have never had contact with the modern outside world. These shots from above paint a picture of these uncontacted tribes being hostile towards seeing helicopters and drones in the air. So encounters with them are quite rare, since it's best not to interfere with these tribes. So this new drone footage was jaw-dropping when they actually managed to capture this uncontacted tribe on video. If you look closely, you can see there's 16 people quietly walking through the rainforest here. I think it's best if they don't try to get any closer. They certainly don't want a repeat of what happened before. It's creepy to think there's people on this earth who have never seen the modern world, but I agree these groups should remain uncontacted and self-sufficient. While investigating this demon house, YouTube team KBC Cazadores de Fantasmas encounters a real-life demon. In the wilderness, they start to get a wild EMF reading. Then they break out a thermal camera and capture this.
Grace, cuidado, Grace.
Oh! Tem que assustar mais aí,
And they later captured the devil in their spirit box session.
O diabo. Falou certo? Mano. Pedro, fica esperto, Pedro.
They also take a photo in which something spooky is captured. These are just the grounds of the demon house. I feel that there's definitely something haunting this property, but we'll have to tune into the final episode of the series to find out. When a shadow passes through your security footage, you know you're not alone. Posted by Lily Monique to the Chills Narrator subreddit. Lily shares that her uncle David and her father work for mall security. She writes, "This is what my dad and uncle caught on mall security cameras where they work in the middle of the night in the parking lot. The video shows David standing in the middle of the empty lot. He remains there in the light and no one at all is around, but then a shadow passes close to the camera, completely blocking him from view for a moment. It almost looks as if a figure glided directly in front of the security camera. If I were David, I'd be looking over my shoulder in that parking garage." Kazakhstan is a country with 3 mountain regions said to hold many strange secrets. One such secret can be found by satellite on Google Earth, and it's creepy beyond belief. The lines connect to form a pentagram within a circle. No one knows why someone put such a symbol out in the middle of nowhere. It's either a hoax or an actual summoning circle right by a large body of water, which, if you believe in rituals, could be a necessary element for whatever is being cast. So let me know if you think this weird symbol was made for evil purposes or just for attention. Something tells me this was never meant to be discovered. Submitted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by Buddy and Rascal. This 2-part submission starts with a photo. The Redditor wrote, "Caught this face while me and my mom were putting the boards on our basement windows. Our house was built in 1901. This image got a ton of upvotes with commenters praising its realness and asking for more evidence. The Redditor then posted a video writing, "Here is a video of our basement. I personally don't see anything, but if you guys do, please let me know." In the comments, Wrangler Greedy 2976 thought they saw movement in the crawl space at the 16-second mark.
So you walk down here, and the first thing you're greeted by is our crawl space. I don't know what light to turn on so you can see it better, but that's our crawl space. And then this is the window that the face was in. Don't like this window, but the crawl space isn't much better. There isn't very good vibes back here.
Do you see what this commenter is talking about? Nevertheless, let's hope Buddy and Rascal are able to capture more paranormal evidence in this home. These men tried all means to rid their friend of a demonic possession, published by Cacadores das Sombras, which translates to Shadow Hunters in April of 2021. The crew sets out on a mission to complete a satanic ritual. As the guys are driving down a dirt road in a rural area, they pass a guy walking on the side of the road. It turns out that it's their friend Lucas.
Oh, Lucas.
They slow to a stop shortly after, and the driver has his door open. Bad idea. Lucas lunges into the car at him and attempts to grab him.
Over aqui, joga a cabeça! Over aqui! Over aqui!
He seems possessed. They tie him up and throw him into their back seat. When they arrive at their destination, they find a pentagram with candles lit at all the points. They place the man into the middle of the pentagram, and it seems he can't escape it. He is whipping around out of control but still lucid at times. They light one last candle on one of the pentagram's points. Lucas is later kneeling, growling, and bent forehead to the floor at the center of the pentagram.
É, olha lá. Você vai sair dele ou não vai?
He appears in a fit of some sort. After a while, the man holding the camera loses his patience with the possessed man. It doesn't meet its mark. One of the crew calms the cameraman outside, and a ruckus is heard inside shortly after. They return to find Lucas lying sideways on the ground, still at the center of the pentagram.
Ô Marquinhos, sai daí, mano, sai daí.
Ele torceu, velho.
Quê?
Ele torceu assim a cabeça, gritou e caiu no chão, mano.
Ô Lucas.
Tem alguma coisa? Não fiz nada, mano.
What happened to him? Did the ritual work? Although he continued to remain still and silent at the end of the video, I hope he is free from his possession. A Redditor named Danny3LG are making a funny video when they accidentally capture a morose visitor in the process. Something taller than the entertainment center looks out and ducks from view. In the split second, I see the top of its head, along with a pale brow and two solid black eyes. If not a ghost, what else could this be? Exploring with Josh is a YouTube channel dedicated to taking a closer look at all sorts of frightening locations. This time they decide to check out an abandoned school that is reportedly the source of black magic rituals. Pentagrams spray painted on the wall give them a general feeling of unease all around as they make their way deeper into the building. They feel watched at times and are worried about coming across someone at any given moment. I notice some sort of strange ephemeral smoke follows them throughout the video. It's visible in two different scenes. The first time happens about 5 minutes in.
We see some? Damn, this is spooky. Hopefully we don't run into anything crazy.
Then it happens again here roughly a minute and a half later.
Yeah, this one's a little bit scary. If we hear anything, let's just...
The strange smoke is definitely not their breath, because it only happens twice instead of throughout the entire video. Coincidentally, the smoke appears as soon as they sense that something is nearby. As if that weren't enough, they have another random paranormal encounter that is much more blatant.
Oh my God, did you get that on tape? That is insane.
I don't see any block light around the door frame to indicate one of their friends was on the other side. In fact, it doesn't look like the door even has a knob to use. There just doesn't seem to be any plausible reason for this door to open on its own. This entry involves a series of videos revealing a web of industrial-looking tunnels that weave beneath the campus of Northern Arizona University. The uploader states that in October of 2018, he only reached the bottom of the stairs but recently decided to venture further. Enclosed Granddad writes, NAU was almost established as an insane asylum back in the mid-1890s, and rumor has it that these tunnels would have been part of that. He shares a link, which notes that the building was first built as a reform school for Arizona's so-called vicious youth. It's unclear why it remained empty for years upon completion. That's when, as Granddad mentioned, an insane asylum was proposed by the territorial legislature. For some reason, that wasn't followed through either. What isn't made clear is this short historical literature is when the tunnels were built and for what purpose. The recorder guides us through the dark tunnels, writing, I came across pathways that I could have potentially crawled, shimmied through, but chose not to because 1. They seemed a bit dangerously cramped at points, and 2. I didn't want to spend too much time down there. I don't know how much farther these tunnels go until we find out what those tunnels were used for. The mystery may just be enough to haunt you. This toy is supposed to sing the alphabet, but according to the description, it startles children with a deep voice instead. Even if this is happening just because the batteries are low, what's especially weird is the timing. This toy always seems to malfunction just before the last letter of the alphabet. Listen to this part and tell me if you hear a deep voice saying something like, hey. Thank you so much for getting me to 40,000 subscribers here on my Clips channel. If you want to support, please press that subscribe button. Can you help me reach 50,000 subscribers? Thank you.